Welcome to today's video session. In today's video, we are going to deal about a very important topic without which the world would not survive. World cannot exist. Such an important topic we are going to study today. That is none other than photosynthesis. So, if you come about photosynthesis, the word itself has a meaning of that. Photo. If you break the word into two words, photo and synthesis. Photo or photon means light. Synthesis means the production of food. Biosynthesis. So in the presence of light is called as photosynthesis. This photosynthesis is a unique property that is present only in plants, particularly green plants. We call them as autotrophs. Auto means self, troph means nutrition. They can prepare their own food. Why chlorophyll? Because why only green plants? Green plants contain a pigment called as a plastid called as chloroplast, inside which there is a pigment called as chlorophyll, where the entire process of photosynthesis occurs. So chlorophyll is very important pigment. Let it be from algae, bryophytes, pterophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. All these plants are phototrophic and autotrophic except fungi. So when we come about photosynthesis, it is an anabolic process. So we should know there are two types of process, anabolic and catabolic. Anabolic means building up process. Catabolic means degradation, where the built up product, the complex product is broken down into simpler products. And such a process is called catabolic process. On the other hand, anabolic, where simple products are clubbed together, clustered together to form a complex unit called as an organic compound. Biosynthesis of products is called as anabolic process. So in that way, the photosynthesis is an anabolic process. It is both oxidation as well as reduction process taking place. Hence, it is a redox process. Oxidation also occurs in this process and reduction also occurs in this process. So this is about photosynthesis. In simpler words, photosynthesis is a very important anabolic biosynthetic pathway of production of carbohydrates or sugar molecules with the utilization of water and carbon dioxide in the presence of light and chlorophyll. So these four things are very important: light, chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide, without which the photosynthesis process won't happen. So we'll come to what and all are the factors, important significance of photosynthesis later. So if we come to photosynthesis, this is the pictorial representation of the entire photosynthesis. Photosynthesis can be broadly categorized into light reaction and dark reaction, though both the reactions occur simultaneously hand in hand. While studying them, we study reaction by reaction or cycle by cycle we study. So first is the light reaction, the second is the dark reaction. So these both reactions combine together to form photosynthesis. So what is light reaction? What is dark reaction? Light reaction, as the name itself says, light reaction is the light dependent reaction. Only in the presence of light, that is sunlight, only in the presence of light, these reactions occur. So light reactions are further classified as cyclic reaction and non-cyclic reaction. That will be dealt in later videos. Please do watch those videos also. So light reaction is further classified as cyclic reactions and non-cyclic reactions. These occur in the presence of light. Only in the presence of light these reactions occur. They are light dependent reactions. They occur in the grana of chloroplast. So if you see the chloroplast, you have grana and stroma. Grana is the thylakoid membrane. Stroma is the fluid matrix. This grana, they occur in the granule membrane of the light reaction. How to remember? Whereas the dark reaction occurs stroma. So how to remember light reaction occurs in grana? Just by word Lg. We know Lg products, right? Life's good products. So remember Lg word, code Lg. L for light reaction, G for grana. So they occur under grana. What do this light reaction are also called as Hill's reaction. What is the basic reaction that is occurring over here is light falls on the photosynthetic apparatus called as photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Unique frequency of wavelength should fall on over this. So when water also takes water and it gives out oxygen, photolysis of water takes place. What is photolysis? Photo means light. Lysis means to break open or to split. The water molecules are split in the presence of light and H and O2 is formed and O2 is liberated. This is an NET question, or that is like oxygen is formed from, they'll give many options like H2O, CO2 and many others. So as soon as we see CO2 and this is O2, oxygen is written as O2, and in many options CO2 will be one of the option. So here also O2, here also O2, many people will give CO2 as the answer. But oxygen is liberated. We know, right? Photosynthesis, food is prepared with the liberation of oxygen. So oxygen is prepared, is liberated or evolved in Light's reaction. It is very important. So it is under cyclic or non-cyclic. If you go still moves one step further, it is oxygen is liberated in a non-cyclic reaction. We'll study that later in detail. So light reaction, oxygen is liberated out, and it also releases high energy compounds such as ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and NADPH2, nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate, which is a reduced form. So here reduction occurs where oxygen is liberated, and along with that high energy molecules are liberated. High energy molecules such as ATP and NADPH2 are released. That's about light reaction. When we come about dark reaction, so those energy rich molecules such as ATP and NADPH2. So those high energy rich molecules that are liberated, that is ATP and NADPH2, utilizing these, the dark reaction occurs. Dark in the sense, not it occurs only during the dark time. This is a misnomer actually. Many students think that it occurs only during night times or dark times. Dark reaction means it is independent of light, which is very important. It is independent of light. It occurs 24 hours throughout the day. These reactions occur. In this reaction, what happens is the carbon dioxide is fixed, or carbon dioxide is assimilated. Carbon dioxide is reduced to form food, that is glucose. It may be glucose, sucrose, fructose, maltose, hexose, any other sugars, or carbohydrates or proteins depending upon the type of plants. Like for example, if it is a potato plant, starch is produced. So depending upon the various plants, this glucose may be formed or it may be converted later. The initial product is glucose that may be also converted later. Here you have to remember is the carbon dioxide is fixed. The carbon dioxide that is in the atmosphere gets fixed over by the reactions of dark reaction, and glucose is formed. These reactions occur in stroma. So they either should be grana or stroma. If you remember Lg, Light's reaction for grana. The other part is stroma. So the dark reaction should occur in stroma. So when you compare these two reactions, these two comparison, if writing any examination, university examination, these two can be asked for 5 markers. Compare light reaction and dark reaction, or an individual thing they can be asked for 5 marker also. Whereas dark reaction is called as Blackman's reaction, and it is enzymatic. So whatever reactions occurs, enzymes are required. But whereas the enzymes are not required, and it is much slower. Since enzymes are required, it's much slower when compared to light reaction. Light reaction occurs very fast, much faster rate. So this is about dark reaction. Here I said you light reaction may occur in 2 ways, cyclic reaction and non-cyclic reaction. Here dark reaction may occur in 3 pathways, metabolic pathways. The carbon may be fixed either through C3 cycle, which is also called as Calvin cycle or Calvin cycle, C4 cycle, or Hack-Slack pathway, or CAM cycle, resolution acid metabolism. So it is either each cycle is an independent of light that goes throughout the day and night 24 hours, and in each of the cycle the carbon is fixed and glucose is formed. So majority of the plants are undergo C3 cycle. So let it be C3 or C4 or CAM. Each of the cycle, what you have to remember, the carbon is fixed. Each of the cycle is dealt in a separate video. Please do watch those videos. So this is about the light reaction and dark reaction. And as a byproduct of this dark reaction, along with glucose, you get ADP and NADP also. So here you got ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That adenosine triphosphate is utilized by dark reaction, and ADP is obtained. ADP, adenosine diphosphate. This adenosine diphosphate, it enters light reaction. Again it gives ATP, and again it enters here. Again ADP enters ATP. It's a cyclic process. Similarly with NADPH2, nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate, it is reduced form. that also undergoes dark reaction, and it is utilized in dark reaction, and it gives NADP, that it again undergoes light reaction, and again it forms NADPH2. So this is the entire pictorial representation of photosynthesis. Light reaction, dark reaction, and the light reaction, water and light is very necessary. It occurs in grana, and oxygen is liberated as a byproduct. Whereas in dark reaction, carbon dioxide is very necessary, along with that energy-rich molecules such as ATP and ADPH2. It occurs in stroma of the chloroplast. It is light independent reaction. It occurs 24 hours throughout day and night. And glucose is released. Either the plants may undergo C3 pathway, or plants may undergo C4 pathway, or plants may undergo CAM pathway. So majority of the plants undergo C3 cycle or Calvin cycle, which will be dealt in separate videos as I mentioned. Now this is the complete photosynthesis process or mechanism is over here. What are the factors that are responsible for photosynthesis? We are going to study those things. What are the factors that is responsible? So the first factor that I am going to say is about water. So when water is present, say as I mentioned here, water is also very essential, right? So when water is present, the rate of photosynthesis is very high. That is very important. When water is present, water is directly proportional to rate of photosynthesis. So before going to the factors can be broadly classified as external factors and internal factors. So external factors like edaphic factors, soil factors, atmospheric factors all play a role. Internal factors like the age of the plant and all, it is related with plants alone. That is also under internal factors. So we are dealing about external factors such as water, light, carbon dioxide, oxygen. All this we will study one by one. So under external factors, water plays a very important role in photosynthesis. They are directly proportional to rate of photosynthesis. So water, as the water increases, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. When water decreases, the photosynthesis also decreases. So water was the first important factor we studied. Next is carbon dioxide. Second factor is concentration of carbon dioxide. So there was an experiment conducted. So as the carbon dioxide concentration increases, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. But this happens only for few days. Like in that experiment, it was happening for 10 days. For 10 days, they kept on constantly increasing carbon dioxide. Photosynthesis also increased. But after 10 days, further increase in concentration, it resulted in decline in photosynthesis. So when initially for few days, only when the concentration of carbon dioxide increases, photosynthesis also increases. But after some time, after a few days, when the further concentration increases, the photosynthesis drops down or declines. And there's very important thing in regard to carbon dioxide concentration called as carbon dioxide compensation point. So what is this carbon dioxide compensation point is? It is that point, or it is that concentration of carbon dioxide where rate of respiration is equal to rate of photosynthesis. So I'll repeat. What is carbon compensation point? It is that concentration of atmospheric carbon dioxide where rate of respiration is equal to rate of photosynthesis. I'll explain this. Now, whenever respiration occurs, carbon dioxide is given out. We all know that. Even we do respire and we give carbon dioxide. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is taken in. In dark cycle, I said you right, carbon dioxide is fixed. So, carbon dioxide is taken in. For example, during respiration, 10 molecules of carbon dioxide is given out by a plant. During respiration, 10 molecules of carbon dioxide is given out. During photosynthesis, 10 molecules of carbon dioxide is required. So the amount of carbon dioxide evolved out is equal to amount of carbon dioxide taken in by the plants. 10 molecules of carbon dioxide is given, 10 molecules of carbon dioxide is taken during photosynthesis. At this point of carbon dioxide, this concentration of carbon dioxide is called as carbon dioxide compensation of point. At this point, rate of respiration will be equal to rate of photosynthesis. Further, no more photosynthesis will take place. This is very important point, carbon compensation point. This is about the carbon dioxide. So the next thing is temperature. Temperature is also required. So when you plot a graph, as the temperature is increasing, as this temperature, okay, this is photosynthesis. This is rate of photosynthesis. This will be temperature. When you plot a graph like this, when the temperatures are increasing, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. Further increasing declines the photosynthesis, rate of photosynthesis. You will get a bell-shaped curve. So when the temperature is increasing, the photosynthesis will increase. Further, if you increase, like the maximum or the optimum temperature for photosynthesis is 25 to 35 degrees Celsius, below which and above which the photosynthesis will decline. Because as I said, photosynthesis is an enzyme related process. If you increase further 35, 40, 45 or very less, the enzymes are inactivated or denatured and photosynthesis will drop. So the optimum photosynthesis or optimum temperature for photosynthesis is 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. You get a bell-shaped curve when you plot a graph. This is the third factor. Next factor is minerals. Macronutrients and micronutrients you would have been studied. Under that, certain like copper, iron, magnesium, sulfur, so manganese, potassium, nitrogen, phosphate. So these are those important minerals which are necessary for photosynthesis to occur. These are related with enzymes also. So when these minerals are present, the photosynthesis also increases. This is one of the another factor. Minerals are very important. Oxygen concentration. So oxygen is the end product. It is evolved. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is taken in and oxygen is given out. So oxygen is an end product. Accumulation of this oxygen, or if the oxygen is more, rate of photosynthesis will be less. Rate of photosynthesis will be less. They are inversely proportional. If you have more oxygen concentration, photosynthesis will be less. So by this, you have a very important effect called as Warburg's effect. This can be asked for an entrance examination and all. What is Warburg's effect? Declining or reducing the rate of photosynthesis by increasing oxygen concentration is called as Warburg's effect. This experiment was done by Warburg, hence it's named after him. So when you increase the oxygen concentration, photosynthesis will decline. This effect is called as Warburg's effect. This is related to oxygen. So accumulation of the end product will decline in rate of photosynthesis. Next, the last thing we are going to study is light. Light is a very important factor. That's why I dealt in the last. So light is very important for photosynthesis, without which the world cannot survive. So as the light increases, the light intensity increases, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. So they are directly proportional. If light increases, photosynthesis increases. If light decreases, photosynthesis also decreases. It is very important. The quantity of light and quality of light is also very important. Quantity and quality plays a very important role in everything. Quantity is a duration. So certain plants require very long duration of light. Such plants are called as long day plants. Photoperiodism, these are called as. Now if you take any plant, the amount of light required for this plant for its maximum photosynthesis, for its flowering, fruiting is called as photoperiodism. Photo means light, periodism means quantity or duration. So based on the plants can be classified as long day plants, short day plants, day neutral plants. So for long day plants, you need quantity of light of should be very more. It should be 10 to 12 hours more. It should not be less than 10 hours. Whereas for short day plants, it should be less than 8 hours. Day neutral plants 8 to 10 hours or 8 to 12 hours. So that much amount of light is required for that category of plants for maximum photosynthesis to occur. That is about quantity. If you come for quality, only certain amount of radiations light can absorb, not all. You have X-rays, infrared rays in the spectrum. If you see, only visible light it can absorb, and that too Only red light and blue light it can absorb. Then the photosynthesis will be maximum. So photosynthesis is maximum at red light and blue light in the Vibgya region. Red light and blue light, the maximum photosynthesis takes place. In green light, there will be minimum photosynthesis taking place. So this is all about light. Light is very important. And here you have one very important another point called as light compensation point. Like as we studied carbon dioxide compensation point, same thing. This is called as light compensation point. What is this light compensation point? Means it is that intensity of light at which rate of respiration is equal to rate of photosynthesis. So it is that point intensity of light at which rate of respiration is equal to rate of photosynthesis. That is called as light compensation point. We have internal factors, but before going to that, one more very important thing is solarization is very important. This is an adverse effect. What is the solarization means? As the temperature increases, and when there is shortage of water, rather than putting temperature, can put light, because light and temperature are, light increases, temperature will increase. Solarization mainly means light. As the light intensity increases, there will develop shortage of water. Then what happens? The photosynthetic apparatus, the chloroplast, the chlorophyll, plastids, photosystems, all will get oxidized. This is called as photooxidation. Oxidation due to photo. Photo means light. When the light intensity increases, the shortage of water develops, and during those, all the apparatus, cellular apparatus, components, photosynthetic apparatus gets oxidized, and they leads to breakage or damage, leading to etiolation. Etiolation in the sense drying of leaves or yellowing of leaves. We call necrosis, chlorosis, and all is there. No, those all are the products of etiolation only. So because of this photooxidation, etiolation occurs, and it leads to death of the plant, and it decreases the rate of photosynthesis. So during this etiolation, all what happens? It decreases the rate of photosynthesis. That process of decreasing of photosynthesis due to photooxidation that occurs during very high intensity of light and very low amount of water is called as solarization. So solarization means the rate of photosynthesis will be decreased because of high intensity of light and low amount of water. That process is called solarization. That effect is called solarization. So with this we have completed the external factors. Now the internal factors. Internal factors such as leaf size, leaf number. So if the leaf size as big as the leaf lamina is, the photosynthesis will be very good. Even leaf number, more the number of leaves, more the photosynthesis. That directly proportional to photosynthesis. So leaf size, leaf. Next is chloroplast or chlorophyll content. Chlorophyll content or chloroplast number. So more the chlorophyll, more the number of chloroplasts, the rate of photosynthesis will be very high. These are also directly proportional to photosynthesis. Less the number of chlorophyll, yellowing of leaves. In yellow leaves and all, if you see, the photosynthesis will be very less. Next is age of the plant. In young plants, if you see, they need more energy for the growth and development, hence more food will be produced. In age, it is in young plants, photosynthesis will be more. As the plants become mature, older and older, leading to senescence and the death of the plant, the photosynthesis will be very less. And this is regarding age of the plant. Next we have phytohormones. Phytohormones are those chemical substances, organic substances which are produced in very minor quantities in plants for the beneficial of the plants. So phytohormones such as gibberellic acid and cytokinins, these promote photosynthesis. They increase the rate of photosynthesis. That is about the phytohormones. The last thing is accumulation of starch. Starch is the last product or the end product of photosynthesis. let it be anything, that is the fifth factor. Let it, the accumulation of end product, either oxygen or starch, will decline the photosynthesis process. So the accumulation of starch also declines the rate of photosynthesis. With this, we have completed internal and external factors responsible for photosynthesis. Just a recap for external factors are like temperature, water, minerals, oxygen concentration. Under that Warburg's effect, we did carbon dioxide concentration. We did about carbon compensation point, and light, long day plants, short day plants, blue light, green light, red light, and light compensation point. Solarization also we studied. Next is the internal factors like leaf number, leaf size, chlorophyll number, chloroplast number, chlorophyll content. Then we studied the age of the plant, phytohormones, and accumulation of starch. So these are the factors that are responsible. Here comes a very important law called as Blackman's limiting law. Blackman's limiting law. What does this law state? So according to this Blackman, he says that the rate of photosynthesis is dependent on that factor which is provided in minimum. The slowest factor decides the rate of photosynthesis. I will explain this. What does this say means? Now you have so many factors, 10 to 12 factors you have. Out of those 10 factors, let us consider. Out of those all 10 factors, I give 9 factors in maximum quantity. So except temperature. So except temperature, I give light maximum quantity, water maximum quantity, carbon dioxide maximum quantity, and minerals maximum quantity. Everything I give maximum quantity except temperature. Now the rate of photosynthesis will depend on my temperature, which I am giving it in the minimum quantity. Even if I give all those 10 factors, of those 10 factors, if I give 9 factors in highest quantity also, that one factor which I give in the minimum quantity, that will determine the rate of photosynthesis. I'll give a small example. If there are 30 students in a class, out of which 29 students score 100 out of 100, they score centum, and only one student who scores in very minimum marks, he scores just 30 to 35, but the efficiency of the class won't be 100, because the efficiency of the whole class depends on this one student. It depends on his ability. If he gives 80 to 90%, the efficiency will go up. If he gives just 20 to 30%, the efficiency will go down, even if all these 29 students give 100%. So the efficiency of the whole class is depending on that one student who scores minimum. So same thing in temperature also, in photosynthesis also occurs. So that's what Blackman's law states, that the rate of photosynthesis is dependent on that factor which is given as minimum, which is given in minimum quantity, or it is dependent on the slowest factor, we call them as. So this is Blackman's limiting law. With this example, I hope you have understood this concept very well. So Blackman said that the rate of photosynthesis depends on that temperature or that factor which is supplied in minimum quantity for the plants. So they may ask for 2 marks, this Blackman's limiting law. Now we are coming to the last part of this video, that is the significance of photosynthesis. As I'm saying from the first, this is very important, photosynthesis, without which the world cannot live. So the energy that is produced or the food that is synthesized by these plants is directly or indirectly helpful for the living organisms to sustain on this earth. These produce glucose or carbohydrates or starch, and their extra membranes, extra foods are stored as reserve food material, which we consume in the form of rice, grain, pulses, carbohydrates, wheats, other ragi, proteins, pulses, leguminous, everything we consider, all those are the products of photosynthesis, without which no biota can live on this world. Earth, no microorganisms or no macroorganisms can sustain. And second very important thing is oxygen, without which no living beings or no animals can live, because oxygen is very important for us to breathe, for respiration, for a survival. And it also maintains oxygen carbon dioxide ratio. What is this oxygen carbon dioxide ratio is? It maintains the stable, now for example, we leave out carbon dioxide. If the plants do not take in carbon dioxide via photosynthesis, the carbon dioxide concentration will become more in earth and catastrophic events may take place. So there is an it maintains balance in nature between oxygen and carbon dioxide. It forms and stable equilibrium is formed. Stable equilibrium is obtained. Fossil fuels that we are using now, such as coal, peat, lignite, petrol, and all kerosene products, they were all the products of photosynthesis. I'll give you how and I'll say you why. That means the plants, they undergo photosynthesis and they produce fats and other lipids and all, and they store them in the cell material and they get fossilized. After getting fossilized, we extract those fossils and we convert those fossils into oil forms. Those fat droplets, those oils that are stored in those plant cells are extracted as fossil fuels, which are the product of photosynthesis. So this photosynthesis, it gives us food, shelter, and oxygen or storage. So from everything, let it be basic amenities till the most advanced medicines, or let it be any type ethnobotanical medicines, commercial, economic botany, economic things of plants. Everything are the byproducts of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a very important topic or very important phenomenon without which no life can exist on this earth. So I hope I made with this video this photosynthesis concepts very easy and clear. Thank you for your watching. Please do like and subscribe my channel. Please post your valuable comments or suggestions. I'll improve my further videos. Please share this video and please share this channel with all your friends and groups. Thank you for watching.